Well, what a delight today to have with us a very special lady. Phyllis Schlafly is with us today, and she's a national conservative leader. She's been a part of the conservative movement for years and years. She is the founder of Eagle Forum. She's written a book that was a bestseller and continues to be, A Choice and Not an Echo. And we have a lot to talk to her about with today. And just recently, in fact, as a matter of fact, this morning, on the Drudge Report, she was mentioned. So, Phyllis Schlafly, good to see you. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Good to join you.
Well, listen, the article this morning on Drudge says that Trump's the only one that can save America. Is that true?
Oh, well, that's a little exaggeration. I didn't exactly say that, and I did not actually endorse him. However, I want to credit him for bringing to the forefront the issue that the grassroots really care about, which is immigration. They're sick and tired of these people who've never been vetted, who we don't know anything about, who may be criminals coming into our country and being planted in the house next door. And Americans don't like that, and I don't, Obama's pretending to push through with it, and I hope somebody does something.
He made a pretty interesting statement the other day that got him a lot of heat, that said he wouldn't want to let any Muslims into the country temporarily while we figure out what to do with refugees and with immigrants. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that's just right. We're a sovereign country. We have a right to decide who comes and stays and who stays out of our country. And in the 1920s, we stopped all immigration for a number of years, and it was called a pause, P-A-U-S-E. And I think what we need now is a pause till they learn how to vet these criminals coming in. You know, the criminal who came in and shot the American on the bridge in San Francisco, and we shouldn't let them do that.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that the refugee issue now eclipses the immigration issue?
Well, it's all the same thing now. A lot of them coming in illegally under Justin Obama's are illegals. And they've never been vetted. We don't know if they're criminals or not. And a lot of them have been deported several times from this country, and they still keep coming back in, and then they commit more crimes.
Well, you know, we've set the precedents. As you said earlier, in the 20s, we had the pause. We've had other situations where the actual people have been deported. We do have to get this under control. Trump has said, well, let's build the wall, let's get it done. What do you think the answer is to the immigration / refugee problem? I realize pushing the button to pause it makes a lot of sense, but ultimately, what's the solution from your perspective?
Well, we ought to build the wall. I remember seeing George Bush on television signing the appropriation to build the wall, and however, we never got it. And the walls work. Ask the Israelis. They know fences work. And that's what we want to impose on outsiders. But then the idea of letting Obama just decide who can come in is not the rule of law that we think we're living under. It's so important that we obey the laws we already have. And I think that's absolutely essential.
Okay, just the other day, Secretary of State John Kerry said that under the current relationships that we have with Iran, that Iranians should be given special considerations for a visa, which are opposed by the very rule that the Congress passed the other day on visas. How can we possibly do this?
Well, I don't know how to get around that, but I remember that we are a sovereign country, and it's up to us who we let in and who we keep out, and that is our right. And when somebody comes along and say it's unconstitutional or isn't fair or whatever they're saying about denying people entry, that's wrong. We can let in and keep out anybody we want.
All right, let me move you over to the appropriations bill that the House passed the other day under the leadership of the new Speaker, Paul Ryan. What did you think of the bill?
Well, I think it was a betrayal, an outrage. They shouldn't have done it. They gave Obama everything he wanted. Even Chuck Schumer is bragging about what they got out of it. They passed all the useless things that Obama wants, and I think it's a real betrayal. We elected this Republican Congress to shape up the government, and the Constitution gives the Congress the power of the purse, and they're not using it.
Well, you know what's so interesting, as you well know, especially from your previous writings, and I had the high honor many years ago sitting with you on a platform committee at the convention with the late Henry Hyde as we fought to make sure that the pro-life plank stayed in the platform. This appropriation bill now funds Planned Parenthood in the shadow of all these videos. What do you think?
I think it's an outrage, and anybody who has seen those videos, and I assume a lot of people have because they've been on television, would just be shocked and would say we should not give that organization any money at all.
Do you think we can get this back in front of Congress for a vote? I mean, this is outrageous.
Well, I don't think we can this year, and I don't think they've got the gumption or the stomach or whatever it takes to bring it back. They just don't want to deal with the tough questions. But that's what we elect congressmen for, to deal with the tough questions and give the people what they want.
Were you surprised that Paul Ryan became Speaker? And I'm certainly now would believe that you would think that he's been a disappointment.
Well, he's been a carbon copy of Boehner, and we all were unhappy about Boehner. And so, yes, we're unhappy with Ryan, too.
Where do you think this may be going, Phyllis? I mean, if we can't get this Republican House under control, where is this going?
Well, I hope the people are going to be so angry that they will elect a Republican president. And then we would be able to veto any bills that we don't like the bill that was the monstrosity that was just passed. And that's what I hope. And I'm encouraging everybody I know to make plans to go to Cleveland next year and speak up with your voice for who you want for president. And we just need to do that. And we still have the wheels of fortune and of our country turning, and we need to make use of them in order to have an honest election and get the kind of government we want.
All right, let me ask you one final question here. Donald Trump is certainly representing the frustration and the anger within this country. There's no question about that. And a lot of people say that a lot of things that he says is outrageous. And yet, I think we get it. I think we know what he's saying. Do you think he would make a good president?
Well, yes, I do. And I remember that we had a lot of doubts about Ronald Reagan when he was running. As a matter of fact, some of us didn't think he was conservative enough. Some of us supported Phil Crane as a more conservative alternative. But he turned out to be the greatest president of the 20th century. And so I think there's hope for Donald Trump. He's not going to be perfect. Don't expect that. We don't expect perfection from our politicians. But we've got to have a change. And I'm glad that he's on to the right issues, which are stop the crooked immigration, cut out these bad deals with China and other Asian countries, and don't pass any more of these crooked trade treaties and stop the immigration.
All right, one last question, and I've asked this of both my guests lately. Given all the people who are running for president, who personally inspires Phyllis Schlafly?
Oh, well, I'm not making my choice. I'm hoping to be a delegate. I've been to every Republican convention since 1952, and I think it's a great way our country is run, and if you want to be a participant, you need to be there. So I invite all good people who don't think the Congress is doing the right thing to go to Cleveland next year and be a player in the nominating process.
Okay. Well, Phyllis, you're a delight and an inspiration. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for your service. Keep up the fight. Never surrender. And let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to phyllisschlafly.com. That's her website, phyllisschlafly.com. Thank you, Phyllis. And again, Merry Christmas to you.
I'm Steve Johnson, News Director of theDove TV. Watch more videos from the Dove Newsroom at theDove.us.